Be sure and tell them Large Mars sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large March Santa's podcast. Hey.
And now, our feature presentation.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
Hey, another episode, no big deal.
I feel like we're back in 2018 where we were cranking out 2 a night, 2 times a week, guys. Whoa.
That was crazy.
Oh my God.
2 a night.
This is how we got to, I was telling you, I brought up this show to my coworkers this week, and to say out loud that we have like over 300 episodes, I was like,
Yeah,
I cannot even believe we got to that number.
Plus, really, yeah.
So crazy.
We were crazy, but now things are different. It's okay. So if you listened to our previous episode, we talked about Under the Umbrella Tree, the delightful children's show from the 80s. Sweetie was like, I don't know if that's enough content to fill a whole episode, so maybe you should pick another movie too. And I was like, okay, how about this? I've been thinking about that movie Almost Human for a while. And Sweetie was like, what? I think you mean Not Quite Human. I was like, oh, right. So no matter what, I will always refer to this movie as Almost Human for some reason. And like, maybe it's because I love that Jonas Brothers song, Only Human.
Oh.
And like, maybe it's like similar. I don't know. But this was a movie actually called Not Quite Human. So close, but no cigar. Disney movie from 1987.
Yep, 1987. So Disney original movie before there was Disney original movies. I mean, I don't know if they called them that, but if you remember, like a lot of movies were on this like wonderful world of Disney that was on Sunday nights, I want to say.
And now our feature presentation.
Yeah. So pretty sure
That's
it was
how it
one of those, and freaking loved this movie. Or, guys, hate to break it to you, but it's a trilogy. So there were 3 of them. So you had Not Quite Human, Not Quite Human 2, and then still Not Quite Human. So interesting that they went with like a little bit more of a play on like the title for the third one. I feel like that almost should have been the second one, and they should have kept like playing with the Not Quite Human thing. I'm just saying for marketing purposes, creative titles, but let's just say it's a trilogy. And it was fucking hilarious. I love this movie. Thought it was so great. Chip the Android. And, posting this on Instagram, I feel like a lot of people felt the same. A lot of people remember it, know about it, and really stuck out as like one of the, Disney original movies from like the 80s, early 90s that like just stuck with you.
Yes, and for some reason I only have strong memories about the third one, which is when they make an android of the dad, and then there's like this scene with these like Rottweilers, and they like throw them peanut butter balls or something, and like their mouths get stuck together. Yeah. I'll have to take a quick look at that one on YouTube, but that's the one I remember.
Yeah. So that was 92. So the original one, 87. 2 years later, Can't Get Enough of Chip, 1989, and then 1992. So I feel like the early 90s, 92 is when we really started watching like a lot of stuff. And I'm like positive we didn't see this when it came out, this original one, but they played these like all the time on the Disney Channel. So
like the sequels,
yeah,
totally.
exactly.
Which just like the Parent Trap sequels, they did a lot of like three pulls of these original movies, which is like, good for them.
Yeah, and they got like a lot of the same actors to come back and everything. So that was always great. Okay, so who's in this? So Alan Thicke, You know, I totally forgot that he has since left us. I thought he was still alive.
What?
I know. I
remember
looked.
that.
I was watching this
When was
again
that?
on YouTube, and someone was like, "Oh, R.I.P. Alan Thicke. Like, miss you. Such a good character." And I was
God.
like,
Is
"He's
Robin okay?
dead." 2016, I think it said.
Shoot.
I know, only 69, so pretty
Dang.
young. So
Everyone's favorite TV dad.
right. Oh my God.
One of their
Growing
favorite TV
Pains,
dads,
and he's
not mine.
He's such a good TV dad in this too. He's sort of
He's a
like
good TV dad.
same kind of character as Growing Pains, like thoughtful dad. You have Robin Lively from our Teen Witch Goddess. A little younger in this first one than Teen Witch, so it's like the year before Teen Witch came out. And then by the second one, she looks like the same age she is in Teen Witch. So she's like early, supposed to be like early high school in the first one. But she's great, just like such a mainstay of the 80s, such a great like girl next door, but who is also like so pretty and sweet and like great sister to like, you know, in this one she's the sister and just like a nice, you know, girlfriend. Everyone's like great sweet girlfriend. She just had like a real run in this time period. Chip is played by Jay Underwood. So, sweetie, what do you know this actor from? What sticks out for you?
He plays the bad boyfriend in Uncle Buck. Bug.
I know.
And he's like such a drip, just like such a loser in that. You really hate him in that, you know. He's just like you just really hate him. And it's surprising because in this movie, sweet angel baby android.
So sweet, I know. And I'm trying to remember which I saw first, and I want to say I saw Uncle Buck first, and then I would have had to
I don't think we would have made the connection it was the same actor.
Oh, okay.
Because I bet it was like so different that like our
I hope
brains
not,
couldn't
because,
comprehend that.
Yeah, I'm just like so sad about it. So he was also in, if you've ever heard about the movie The Boy Who Could Fly. You ever heard about this
Yeah,
movie?
you always talk about. Don't
Okay.
you always talk about that one?
So I read about the synopsis. Apparently, plays an autistic kid before autism was treated as something a little bit more like there's a spectrum to it. I think he was just kind of like a special kid, quote unquote. And he lives next door. And I don't know like the whole thing about the flying, but I've never seen it. But Fred Savage is in it too.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
Fred.
I
Yeah, I
know.
think my friend Christy always loved that. Talked about that movie.
Yeah,
And I always confused it with what's the flying man one called? The Rocket Man. I was like, is it the Rocket
Rocketeer?
Man? I was like, oh, the Rocketeer. You know, I can't get these
He's
titles.
like a superhero. This is like an autistic kid who like dreamed of flying,
They're
but like
tough.
can't.
But yeah, no, but really commend him. You know, really great actor to really
Oh my God,
be on those
I'm
two
sorry.
spectrums.
I think there should be like a B movie Oscar awards because
Yeah.
like that took a lot of talent to do like what he did, and I just really enjoyed his performance. And like I said on my Instagram story, that like vacant look of trying to play a robot is like was really
tough.
good,
Did
and he gets even more. So I watched the sequel today. Haha. Not Quite Human 2, excellent movie. And he even gets more to do with that one as he's working on like face manipulation, and he's like watching movies and figuring out how to like cry and smile and about happiness and everything. So he has even like more to do in that. I don't know. Brilliant performance by Jay Underwood. I was like, what's that guy doing now? First of all, he has no hair. What is it with guys with like the nicest heads of hair that ends up losing their hair? It's like this
It's a
terrible
curse.
curse. I know. I feel so bad. He's totally shiny, Mr. Clean Bald. And he's still working, so he did something in like 2020. I had a feeling he would be like a Hallmark movie guy, but it didn't seem like that. He didn't do like that kind of stuff. But
I mean, not as a baldy, I guess.
right. Oh, right. True. You have Sasha Mitchell, who was Cody in Step by Step as the Robin.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what is she
love
from?
interest.
Oh, the guy. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you
Yeah.
meant the friend.
No,
Okay.
no. And then Christy Swanson has a role, Buffy the Vampire Slayer herself, as the girl who's crushing on Chip. Doesn't know he's an android, but that's like the sort of girl interest.
Does he have a penis?
I know. You know what? So in the second one, as I was telling you, he gets a love interest. It's another android, but I'm assuming that they're Ken dolls with like nothing going on down there.
I hope so.
You know, it's just, why would you complicate that, right? You had Lonnie Price, who played Neil Kellerman from Dirty Dancing. Everybody, Neil, Andre, your favorite line.
It's the pachanga.
The pachanga.
The pachanga.
So that little
He's
like
obsessed.
snotty guy who tries to date Baby for like a hot second before Johnny sweeps her up is in this and like totally overacting and like hamming it up. It was a great performance. And then the evil villain is an actor named Joseph Bologna. Good name. Joey.
Or is it baloney?
I hope they called him Joey Bologna.
Joe
as a
Baloney.
kid.
Joey Baloney. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And he plays Mr. Vogel, this the like nemesis trying to get Chip the android. So yeah.
And then the friend of Christy Swanson was somebody.
Oh.
Who was that girl? She's in something.
She's in something.
Yep.
She's in.
I don't know what.
Something. Lily Hayden.
Maybe Troop Beverly Hills?
She
Yeah, I think she
plays
is, 'cause
the
just watch that.
violin. Known for Anita, Californication, Zeitgeist, The Tonight Show. Oh, she's currently in Ginny in Georgia.
Oh, good for her.
That's cool.
Never saw it.
Composer.
What?
Wait, sorry. She is now like a composer. Sorry. Not an actor. Here we go. Actress,
Interesting.
16. Not Quite Human, Homesick, The New Gidget, Dharma and Greg.
Huh.
Saint
Maybe not.
Elsewhere. Yeah, no. I don't think so.
Damn.
I don't think so.
Sounds really familiar. All right. Well, forget it. But yeah, that's the cast. Cute.
Yeah.
Cute stuff.
So this movie is sort of like Pinocchio in the sense that like a scientist is making his creation into something real. So he's into robotics and he wants to create like the first android. And then the whole theme about the movie, and we'll go into it, is like he really wants to be like a real boy and he wants to be like human.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the whole thing still not quite human is because like is artificial
android.
intelligence or an android ever going to be able to be, considered like to have these enough human qualities where they would be human. So that's like kind of the whole thing. And then the whole humor revolves around not my favorite kind of humor, but has its place in the humor genre, is this literal minded humor, which we just talked about in Good Burger, right?
Yes, but this is a lot more of that.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know. Like it seemed different.
Too much.
Than the Good Burger one, because I don't know, the Ed one was just like funny because he was like not a android. I don't know. Like it made sense to me that Chip would make those mistakes because he's not a human. So he's just like he only understands like computer like
and here's
basic
what
stuff.
made me realize how not only that, but like how English in general, like how we use language. Okay, we have a lot of expressions that if
So
you are
many.
just working on
Well,
like
if you
a literal minded person, like you would be totally lost because there are a lot of expressions that we have
God, I know.
in like
And if,
modern
like, you-
vernacular that would very much confuse
yeah.
you.
Or anyone who doesn't speak English.
Right.
And like sometimes I work with a lot of people that English is not their first language, and I'm always like, shit, did I use too many weird sayings? Probably.
Right.
As I often do. So yeah, it makes sense. But it was cute. It was definitely like Sweetie said it felt very long, this movie, but although it was only an hour and a half, I guess. I agreed. I was watching it while doing work today, and I was like kind of paying attention, but like kind of not. So like it'll be interesting talking about it. What I do know is that the intro song was this like fun jazz sax intro that like a lot of 80s and 90s movies had, and it just like instantly made me feel better that like the jazz sax, the like I don't know, it just like what can go wrong, when there's a sax? Nothing, not much. So I loved that. And then, like I said, now our feature presentation, the guy that says that, I might try to pull a clip of that for like the intro of this episode. And yeah, really, it really brings you back Although I never ever believed that, like, I love these movies in the 80s and the 90s where they like make these groundbreaking technological like inventions with the shitty tech that we had like in the 80s is just like LOL. Like, no way, dude. Just really funny.
We're getting
really
close.
funny stuff.
I mean, it's funny that we're talking about this in like the last couple of weeks. There's been like a real talk about AI and like what that's going to mean for like the future, and are we getting closer to this and all that. And like this movie, like I said, they're very much interested in like what's the closest we can get AI to be like human. In this case, like this android. And in some ways I'm like, okay, that's a cool experiment, but like, why do we need to do that? Also, like, is it like men or scientists need to feel like they are like a god and like able to control and like create this like thing? Because clearly the human experience is not really something that they're looking to like package it and define it and make it into like a computer chip. But isn't that like supposed to be the beauty of the human experience, that like you can't do that? Like it's not about
I don't
like,
know if
manufacturing
yeah, I don't know if that's the goal right now. I think it's more of the like getting like operationalizing like what an AI can do to like, you know, make efficiencies in our lives and things like that. Like if could I use a bot to make a timeline or like send a stupid email that I don't want to write? Like, yeah, probably. But then like, what's my purpose?
Exactly.
So then it's like kind of that whole thing. And like, I'm sure the people in the factories, when they started coming out with like robots that could do their jobs for them, probably went through the same thing. And now we're all like in the same boat. Like, and why am I replaceable by a robot?
Exactly. Like, why do we want to make humans obsolete? Like, that's one thing, I guess,
right.
for like
and
efficiency and stuff like that. But like, what? I
that's
mean,
the big
did we learn anything from the Matrix? Like, hello, like
I know. I think
AI, and they're gonna come and get you.
Yeah, that's fresh in our minds. And like, and then you have like the Terminator, and like, what's next? Like, you know, you program someone to kill you, and like, just like crazy shit. So it's a slippery slope, but you know, we're in the thick of it.
But I wish they concentrate more on like time travel. Like, can someone like
or like
figure
the
that
cure
out?
for cancer?
Yeah,
like let's do
things. These things. I really hope I do not like that stuff is so in the future that I'm not here, because I honestly like have no interest in robots or any of that stuff. I don't want to. I want to just do my life like how it is. You know.
Yeah.
I want to go back.
Do you know what the difference is between a robot and an android?
No.
That was a question.
No.
Did you get my question?
Yeah. No, I don't.
An android is like has humanistic characteristics, so it's like made to like look like a human. So Chip, that's why Chip is an android. Right. But like, and C-3PO, I guess, is also considered an android, and the Terminator is an android. And then robots are just like things that, you know,
R2-D2,
but aren't like Sentinel.
R2-D2 had feelings though.
Right. He could be considered an android also. I don't know. Who knows?
Well,
anyways, yeah.
droids,
so,
right?
Oh, right. That's true. So, yeah, interesting synopsis. This should be. Sweetie might talk about the second one by accident. Who knows?
We were both kind of half watching
but I say
it,
we
but
get into it.
I think we got it.
Okay.
All right.
She's
time
gonna do
for the Sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
You're a weirdo. Get out of here.
Yeah, I remember that line too.
I was like, this is a weird
Those punk
thing
kids.
to say. Yeah. There's always a bully no matter what.
Always. Bullies. All right, you're up.
Okay. So, movie opens with.
Well, I'll start. I can start.
You can do
if
the
you
starts.
want,
I don't want to do the
you
starts. I don't feel comfortable with the starting.
It's easy. You just go, Dr. Jonas Carson is an inventor, a scientist. He's trying to work on this big project to like create an android for like some bullshit asshole company that he works for.
I think it's like a defense thing, like a war.
Oh, okay.
A war.
That makes sense.
Android, yeah.
Why they're like crazy about it. So he's like in his basement putting this together, but he's doing it kind of like on the DL basically. And assuming that's because he doesn't like quite trust these people that he works for or whatever. So he's like really just doing this for himself. So he lives with his teenage daughter, Becky, and the mom had died however many years ago, and I guess they keep moving around every time Dr. Carson gets like closer to like some like to the invention, I guess, because he doesn't want people to steal it or whatever. So you get the sense that they used to move around a lot, right? So he's now been able to actually finally somehow make an android again using his 80s giant computer technology and like old school circuit boards and like just like old shit that you have to like weld with he's just like, it's weird. But he did it. Good job, Dr. Carson. You did it. He creates Chip, the android, who is a teenage boy. And so he introduces him to Becky, and he's like, "Well, now that we've made Chip, like we gotta move, because I don't want the bad guys coming after me to steal this." And she's like, "No, I want to be a cheerleader. I want to stay. Blah blah blah."
Well,
so she's mad about it.
Rude. They had moved like twice in 1 year. She finally had settled in the school, and he was being a little selfish. I mean, he has this other kid. Like, she has a life too. You can't just like pack up and go every time you want to like. And his whole thing was like he wanted to have the android like interact, but everyone knows them in this town, so they couldn't be like, "Oh, this is suddenly my son,"
because they
like,
would figure it out.
Yeah,
true. Which is what ends up happening. So like the boss guy or some guy comes over, and he introduced him as like his son or whatever, and then he reports back and he's like, "Yeah, his son." He's like, "What son? Like, he doesn't have a son." He's like, "We're going over there. I knew he did it. He's done it." And so they're too late, and they've already moved by that time. So
no, they don't.
Mr. Vogel's
Don't
they end up not moving?
Yeah.
No, they do move. They move because then they're in the car, and he's like,
"Oh yeah, and
where are we going?"
Oh yeah, they get like a sick new house, because I remember like one of the Becky's complaints is like, I'm the only one of my friends who have like a rented house with rented furniture, and it like was kind of shitty. And they moved to a new town. You're right, and then it's like this gorgeous house with like a grand piano in like the foyer, and like
good for
them.
My
God. Yeah,
they deserve that.
Yeah, so they do move. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah. So she's going to start over now. She's going to like meet all new people. Meets a cute boy. Brian Skelly, maybe? Is that the crush?
Yeah,
Brian?
I think so they decide that they're like so the whole point of Chip is to get him to live as a human and then develop like human emotions and experiences, because he's just at this early stage, like what he has been programmed. Like he's only like what his programs are, but the whole point of this android is to see if he can, like, from his experience and stuff, turn more human from basically like living a human life. So the best way to do that is he's like, "You're going to school." So he has him and Becky both register for school. Becky's a junior and he's like a senior, because he's like her quote unquote older.
He's very
brother.
smart.
Yeah, he's a 12th grade. Oh no, he's only in 11th grade. Sorry, she's in 10th grade. He's in 11th grade, but he programmed with a 12th grade education, so he's very smart.
Oh, hello. It seems he had to be like higher than that. Like, he seemed to just be like always feeding him things and like programming stuff into him.
The option is there.
So I mean, right away, Chip is a target, right? Because he's not your average teenager. The teachers think he's being a class clown when he's just like literally taking their word like literal understanding.
Like,
and so he gets in trouble
this instant. And so what does he do?
Sit anywhere. And so he just like sits on the floor, like, "Don't speak again." And then she asks him a question and he doesn't speak. And he's like, "You told me not to speak," which is like
his dad, like before he leaves to go to school, he's like, "Just cross all your fingers today, like Chip." And so he just goes through school with like all of his fingers crossed.
Sweet Chip.
He's very sweet, but also.
But again in these movies where you have this like kind of outcast weird person, again, immediate ladies
girls
man.
love him.
Like,
girls
always happens. So like the Christy Swanson character, Erin, loves him, and she's like a hot ticket item. Like all the boys love her. And then Robin Lively's character, Becky, has a crush on Brian. So they're leading up to the big event, which is the dance. And Brian, actually, Becky's crush, asks Erin to the dance. Big shocker. And so, but doesn't Erin go with Chip? Isn't that what ends up happening?
Why didn't Aaron go with Chip? This is the part I like maybe
I
was
thought she
half
did
watching.
go with Chip, but they were like together at the dance. I don't know. But basically the whole movie is the bad guys trying to figure out like where they are and like they want to steal Chip so they can like steal the tech. And like the thing about Chip is that Dr. Carson has built in a self-destruct mechanism to his system so that like if he's ever caught as if he's a spy, he self-destructs himself dark.
Yeah.
So it's very important that he doesn't get caught by these people because that is what's going to happen. And they'll steal his
well,
his
the reason
invention.
he did that, though, remember, was because he knew if it fell into someone's hands, the wrong hands, he could be reprogrammed to do, like, bad things.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Chip
exactly.
is programmed to not hurt any humans and to only help humans. So that's his thing. But if he's able to be reprogrammed, and this is what they want to do in terms of, like, a war situation, they want to make little androids so, they're getting killed and not actual people. So he has this self-destruct button. So as soon as someone starts to reprogram him, he'll self-destruct unless like a special code gets entered.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Damn. Critical. So yeah, a couple other funny. He also has this like fast mode where you can like run super fast. He has a micro compactor for food, which I thought was very interesting. So often with androids, they can't eat. And there's a good scene in the movie AI where Haley Joel Osment as an android is like jealous that he can't eat food like his brother, and is just like shoveling pasta like in his like android mouth, and then it gets all stuck in his circuits and they have to like clear it out. So typically androids do not eat food. So I thought that was very interesting that he built that in to make him fit in. So if that's the case, then maybe he did give him a penis. I don't know.
I know.
Would he want to be caught in a situation where it's like, why don't you have to go to the bathroom?
Chip, I want you to have sex. Or I want you to receive a blowjob.
If you want to be a human.
Yeah. And then he also like has to get plugged in every day. So,
Yeah,
like,
he's basically an electric car.
Yeah.
Like he's a Tesla.
yeah, exactly. So
You
but
like don't really know how to use it. How do I
what
open
other,
the door?
things he can do, I forget. I mean, obviously very smart.
He can,
so all his stuff is
like
programmed in.
recall, like everything you say, he can repeat back. You just like
He
feed him
weighs a
info.
lot. He weighs like
He weighs like 400 pounds.
because he's all metal.
Well, that's silly. Wouldn't he be like a safety risk on like elevators and things? Because like you're not anticipating
In
that.
the second one, I think he
is
busts the
400.
elevator in college, and they all have to take the stairs because he tried to take the elevator and he maxed out the weight limit.
Sad, super sad, bummer. But eventually the bad guys do get him. I forget. So I was kind of confused about this. Chip's like an alarm goes off, and then Chip like gets out of bed and sneaks out the window, and the bad guys are waiting in a car, and they just like scoop him up.
Yeah, they did.
How did they get him in the car?
Because the guy like snuck into the house and did something with one of his circuits or something to make him like climb out the window and just like jump into the car because he broke into their house and like did something. So they have
Wouldn't
this
that count as reprogramming? Like
I don't know. So they have this raper van, and they scoop him up and they take him away in the raper van, and then they're trying to like reprogram, and then they find out that it has the self-destruct thing. So then they decide to lure Dr. Carson and Becky to this raper van and put him in there with like a TV and basically say like, you have to give us the code to like so we can program him, or we're gonna destroy him or something. I don't know. And at this point they're so connected with him. I mean, Becky like is like, I love you like every second. It's like her real brother. And then for Dr. Carson, it's the son he never had. He like treats him like a son and is like so proud of him, and they're just like this sweet little family now. So they can't even think about like what it would be like without him. So they like hand over the codes, and then he like shuts down, right? Or like pretends to shut down.
I
forget
know this
what
is the part
happens
where I
here.
like
Yeah.
completely forget. All I know is that it was like, it seemed like we were far away from having a resolution, but there was only like 3 minutes left in the movie, and I was like, wait, huh?
That was in
And
the
then
sequel,
something
too.
happened, and then they were all hugging, and they were like, yay! And then the movie was like freeze frame.
Well,
the end.
like the Dr. Carson and Becky's van, they're in like a dump. Like imagine like the end of The Brave Little Toaster, where like this truck is coming to like to like crush all the vehicles, these dumpy vehicles in the whatever, like a broken down car lot. And so like he has to save them. So they're like almost getting killed or something, but then they're like leaving the guys who kidnapped him, and he puts the guy in a box. He pretends that like he's all reprogrammed now, and he like won't follow orders, and he has to be like shown what to do.
Oh yeah.
And so the guy's like, "You idiot, like don't you understand English? Like fine, like I'll show you, like I'll get in the box, like just like this." And he gets into the box, and Chip like closes him in there, and then they drive away, and then Chip rescues Becky and Dr. Carson, and like la la la, like happy ending, right? Like,
so are they just like on the run for the rest of their life?
No. What happens is he saves them and then like gets electrocuted and quote unquote dies.
Oh right, and she's like, he's dead. I'm like, listen, he's an android, not dead.
Yeah,
nut bar.
But so then he tries to save him, and they don't think that he can be saved, and they're like, "Oh, Dad, like you tried, like I can't believe he's gone." And then they're walking away, and he just like sits up, and he's like, "Oh, hi everybody," like blah blah blah. So he made it.
Go Chip.
Go Chip.
Happy ending. Yes, cute movie. Just like your classic high school movie, except with an android, basically.
Right.
So
there's like a bully who, because that little quote I had, like, you're weird, you're a weirdo, get out of here, like that was this bully. So he tries, he's always supposed to be helping other humans out, so he like stands up to the bully, and like
but he had a friend for like a hot second.
I know,
the like computer kid, and then he was like mad at him.
Yeah, why was he mad at him?
Because he was like fixing his work or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm losing track of this plot because again, I watched the second one, which was way more interesting. So
we're not supposed to do that.
So he graduates.
It's just like Star Wars.
I know. He ends up graduating and wants to go to college, but Dr. Carson doesn't want to let him go to college, but he does, like under the guise he's gonna like secretly kind of like follow him around. So then he ends up meeting another android at college, and she is like, he reprograms her, so she starts to have like emotions too, and they kind of fall in love. And in this one, it's the villains are like the guys who designed the female android are looking to put her in like some android convention or something like that. So they were the robotics laboratory of this college, and Chip had sent away for some of their software to like help him like add emotions and stuff like that. And they put this bug into all the software that was going to be used by other androids that would eventually destroy them. So they would destroy the competition of other androids, so they'd like win this competition.
Yikes.
And so he has this bug in him, and it's like tearing through his whole system, and like so they both almost die at the end. It's like pretty tragic. The female android does die. She doesn't get plugged in time, and then like her whole system is erased. Yes, it's very sad, very very sad, that one, but very good. All the main characters like return, and it's even funnier because he does even more like crazy things. Like there's these couple scenes where he runs like really really fast, like he misses his bus and he runs like crazy.
Okay,
and
I remember that.
His shoes are smoking.
Yes, smoking shoes.
Then he's in college, and he has this roommate and who's like really into girls. And he's trying to teach him like how to be into girls, and I mean it was really entertaining.
I'll have to watch the third one.
And now you can watch the third one. I know, and clue us all in.
I just want to see that dog scene.
I know.
I know it's there.
Okay, so this reminded me a little bit of that show. I don't know if you remember it, Small Wonder, where the dad brings home a little girl robot to be like the little sister. I used to love that show. It was like very much like same idea. Her name was Vicky, and she was in like this little like girl dress, and like all these like hijinks would happen because people thought she was like real, but she could do all these like crazy things. Small Wonder, if you remember it, we should watch it. I want to say that the word twerp was used in this movie, and I feel like that's not used enough these days or at all. Where did the word bring it back? Twerp go? How would you use that?
I don't know.
What would you define as someone who's a twerp?
Like the Dirty Dancing, the Pachanga guy. He's a twerp.
Okay. Yeah,
totally.
That's what I think too. I mean the villain
that reminds me from
called
Chipmunks. What's twerp?
Twerp?
What is a twerp?
What is a twerp? Exactly. Okay, the cafeteria scene. So they go into the cafeteria, and this is a high school, right? And it looks like the way they had it, everyone was eating the same food, which was not true in our high school. Like there'd be one meal, but then there'd be other options. You'd get a chicken sandwich. You could get like
lots of options.
all these other options, right? So this one, it was almost like elementary school where
It's
you
just
only
easy.
had
I think
one
when you're in a
option.
movie, you're doing a movie. It's just easier prop wise to just.
So it's cheeseburgers, and they call them barf burgers, and they have like the classic lunch lady like handing out the barf burgers, and all the kids are like, ew, so gross, like and in my mind, I'm like, again, in TV movies, why isn't anyone brown bagging it? Why is everyone buying their lunch? Like, did no one brown bag, like bring their own lunch at school? Is that not a thing?
I don't know.
Okay, next, what was with the dance dresses? Everyone had the ugliest prairie home, like Little House on the Prairie dresses for the dance. I was like,
Again,
what is the deal?
Got to be the costume budget. Wasn't high enough.
Ugh.
I guess.
Yeah, could not handle it. Also, was Pat Benatar in the band in this at the school dance? Because that's what it looked like.
I didn't spot that. The soundtrack was very good.
Ooh.
You said that. You told me that. You're like, the soundtrack is popping.
Yeah, the jazzy sexy sax. Yeah,
But there are other songs too that was like, like very Kenny Loggins esque.
Oh, I didn't notice that. The second one even had better songs. I'll tell you. And then lastly, I was going to write them down, but I didn't do it until it was too late, and then I couldn't really remember. But there were so many android slurs in this because Becky is like kind of annoyed by him so much at first that she's always like, whatever you say, aluminum breath. You know, there's always like all these like robot slurs, like things to like make fun of him with. And obviously like he doesn't care because he doesn't have like emotions to care, but there were some real gems and I wish I had written them down.
God. Crazy. Yeah. But yeah, good walk down memory lane. They're all on YouTube if you want to check them out for yourself.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half a piece.
No commercials.
No commercials.
Good quality.
Semi good quality, I would say. But yeah, hilarious. Anything else we left out? I think we talked longer about Under the Umbrella Tree.
I
believe it or not.
know. I wish we really could remember the plot a little more. So I was gonna say. I was gonna say like more stuff he did in the college one. At some point, he like these guys trick him on a bus to play poker, and he ends up like cleaning them out because one of the programs he had, he's able to like figure out what the odds are. Like he can't like see through the cards, but he can figure out the probability of like
cards.
Yeah, basically like what cards the other guys have, and like make the bets because of that. I thought that was pretty cool. And then like cool. The running was really cool. He does like a jumping thing where he's able to like figure out like calculate how big the jump is and like if he can make it in this trajectory. Very cool. Just trying to think. He just did like so much more cool stuff in the second one. I just feel like he like
superhero.
A real funny part was he's trying to really like lock into emotion. So he's like, Dad, is graduation sad? And he's like, well, it can kind of be sad and kind of like a, you know, happy kind of sad. He's like, good. Can you help me install these tear ducts? So he installs these tear ducts, and then he's like walking up to get his diploma, and they start like shooting out like a squirt gun, and they like drench the principal who's like giving him the diploma, and he goes, sorry, allergies.
Chip.
It was like really funny. And then I'll say the last one. So his roommate is like this real ladies man, and he's like, man, like this is your wall and this is mine, and he shows him his wall, which is all just like photos of like girls in bikinis and stuff like that. And then he's like, Chip's like, I got photos to put up, and he's like, yeah, man. He's like, show me, awesome. Thinking it's gonna be like naked girls, and he pulls out all these pictures of robots. The guy's like,
cute.
What?
Chippy.
Robot porn. So cute.
Sweetie.
So yeah, I highly recommend the second one. Not Quite Human.
Sweetie's a fan.
2.
She's a big fan. She's a huge fan. Hit her up. But yeah, check out Not Quite Human and watch it on YouTube. Come find us. Tell us what you thought. You can find us on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you as always, for listening. Bye.